next. Just any kind of pain, give you Vicodin,
lady.
made everybody rich.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh. Chip. I'm like, oh, yeah. Goodness. You know, is it plugged into the computer?
No.
The charging of it.
Sarah, can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Good morning, ladies.
It's always something. I don't know why I thought it was green when it was good. Mm-hmm. I always feel like I have to press hard.
Good morning. Can you hear us, Sarah?
Good morning.
Good morning, I can hear you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, good morning, everyone. I didn't get started. How do you bring up our slides here? So we have some updates that we'll go over this morning. Approval of our minutes from the January meeting as well as our committee meeting updates. And then we're going to give an update on the work that we've been doing here at the health department. And then we have a guest speaker, our very own, Ms. Beth Burrus, who will address the council. Once we're done, we'll take questions and talk about the collaboration within the community and any feedback members have. All right, so I will need a motion to approve the January meeting minutes. If, as they are, you will each have. I'll give you that.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
And I'll second them.
Those in favor? Awesome. Motion's carried. So during our committee meeting, which was held on the 31st, we talked about the strategy of this council going forward. A lot of our focus was on engaging different community stakeholders and the community in general. And I think that we had a really good discussion about the direction that we can really go together. It was a very productive meeting. We are continuing our work on the resources. We are trying to put together a resource guide for Greene County. We should have that done within the next 30 days. It's just very time consuming going through each and every resource that there is. We also have what else do we have? Yes, update for the committee meeting. I think that's it. We'll have a formalized structure for the strategy going forward, and we'll have that by the next meeting, so you can see what we talked about and see what needs to be added to those. So each of you have a copy of the meeting minutes from the committee meeting. If you approve, I will need a motion to approve those for submission to the state.
I make a motion.
A second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor? Awesome. Motion is carried. So of course, we have our work at the libraries, getting out the resources, raising awareness. Those displays are still in place. So we've had several people contact us about those displays. So we are reaching people. So a lot of our work has been focused on building infrastructure. We've facilitated 3 different support group meetings, technically 5, but 3 main support groups. Lifting Spirits, we now have 12 participants with Lifting Spirits, which is our fitness-based recovery support group.
Even have somebody come from Jacksonville.
Yeah, and we have people coming from surrounding communities, which is amazing. That's at 9 a.m. on Wednesdays at the Brick House in Whitehall. And there's no cost to anybody that participates. We cover all of that. Guided Path Support Group is a more traditional support group. We host it at 1, 2, and 3 on Wednesday afternoons here at the Health Department in Carrollton. I think we have 3 that have engaged or been at the support group. So we're making headway. Yeah. Recovery and resource support. We also, this is our 3rd support group kind of work, I guess you'd say. Its focus is giving people individualized support. Because there's a lot of times when you are challenged by substance use, you also have the anxiety, the stigma that comes with it. So we decided to give people a more individualized experience where they can work one-on-one with the peer to really connect to the resources. It may be another support group that we're able to work them towards. It may just be time that they come in, sit and chat. They could come hang out, whatnot. That has now reached 19 full-time participants.
Wow.
So we have 19 people that we engage on practically a 24-hour basis. So there's, it's a lot, but we are reaching people and we're building it. Because of that, we have changed the hours to 8 to 4 on Thursdays. So it is a full day that we're available. And of course, Next Impressions, the clothing boutique, we have, I believe we've supported close to 10 people through that. But the great part about it is 3 people have got jobs. We've been able to build confidence with 3 people applied for jobs, 2 people got the position after engaging with us. So it's working. It's working. There's still a lot of work to be done, but that's why we expanded the hours to 8 to 4. It's a full day at the office in Root House on Thursdays. Oh, so that brings me to our newest adventure. Amanda has been tremendously, I don't even know how to describe it. She has put a lot of work, and this has been a dream of hers for a very long time. As someone with lived experience, you all know we've been working with the Sheriff's Department pretty close over the past year, especially when it comes to recovery mental health. As a resource, another resource for the community, on Wednesdays, between the time that we have support group in the morning and support group in the afternoon, we'll be at the Greene County Sheriff's Department, providing peer recovery, like peer resources, connecting people to the resources they need in one of the situations that they need it most. So it's a voluntary program. Of course, I know this is something we've all talked about for a very long time. They voluntarily participate. It may be connecting them to JCH MAC Clinic. Their peer recovery services offered through Amari, through JCH. It could be connecting them to Locust Street for clinical. We just want to be a resource for people when they need it most. And that's the goal of the program. This aligns with our work here at the health department on our overdose response program, building the resources within our community to really adequately support the overdose substance use crisis. So that's our newest venture. And like I said, a lot of our focus has specifically been on building the infrastructure. And, as we move forward, that focus will start to shift and change so that we can work on growing the council, doing different things within the community. But if we have the resources to do it, that's what we wanted. We wanted to focus, where should our attention be? Where is the most need? Well, we all know that the infrastructure is just not there in either county. So, it's not a lot, but it's a step in the right direction. Our other venture, on February 28th at 7 p.m., we will be holding a arts recreational activity at the office in Root House at 7 p.m. Now, February 28th is also the committee meeting at 4 p.m. So from 4 to 5, we have the strategy meeting. But we're going to hold a art class, therapy, building recreational activity for those in substance use and mental health recovery. Building those activities within our community was one of the things our community said in the community needs assessment. We need recreational activity that can really sober activity. So we're gonna try. Our very own Andy is going to. I'm not gonna.
Well, I don't know yet. I was just surfing the web.
Yeah.
Fun. Ready where you win.
Is over in Staunton,
Okay.
and they're an art group that has their own art collective, and so they do
Cool.
this all the time for the community of Staunton.
That's amazing.
I'll put you in touch with your.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So we're really excited about it. I think it'll be fun. It's something new. It's something different. It's something exciting.
Not everybody's always an athlete. Like you say, hey, Mandy, you want to work out? And she says, no, but I can't.
We're looking forward to it. Now, in our office at House, it spread the word that it's not just connecting people to resources. One of the challenges in the substance use and recovery community is building social connectedness to really build meaningful, impactful, empowered lives. So that's one of the goals of the time we have there in the Root House. Not just available at the Root House, we're available every single day that we're here. But that's dedicated time in a community that needs it most. We also provide like just a place to chill, to hang out. You know, if they want to come hang out with us, anybody for that matter, get away, just engage with people other than what you normally traditionally engage with outside. We're there, resource, come
Healthy and safe.
healthy and safe, and it's a safe place, and that's the goal. You know, we're not there to give any clinical treatment. You know, we're there to just be a resource for them to hit on, so that we can improve recovery outcomes. So that brings us to our guest. Before I forgot this slide, I just put that in this morning. We are seeking more donations for clothing and hygiene items. So spread the word. We will send out a flyer after this that we're just looking for additional donations. The hygiene program has been amazing, to say the least. And we've had people literally engage us in tears because of what we did to help them. They were genuinely thankful that we were a resource for them to turn to because they didn't know where to turn to.
Would you take monetary donations so you could go buy those resources yourself?
I mean, that would be a volley
like
question.
if somebody doesn't necessarily want to go pick out deodorant or whatever, but you could say, well,
I think we can do that. Can't take too much, but you can take a little bit,
No,
and
but I'm
we'll just put it
thinking-
in the spreadsheet, and we'll put it to Ross.
for sure, but like little groups, like PEO, Lions or something, sometimes they look for something to donate.
Right.
Yes, yeah, and
Yeah.
We took a big basket of hygiene items this morning, a donation, just amazing.
yeah.
We're just trying to find additional resources, just so that we can build the tools that we have available.
Our church is very active with stuff like that, so I can present that to them.
Yeah.
You know, but that would probably be a monetary
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
donation, something
That's
like,
what I
like we do with Roots.
That'd be great. Just, you know, anywhere we can turn to try to support those most in need.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
That'd be great.
And they put some of those bags at the libraries too, which I thought was really good. I don't know where you shared that the last meeting or not.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and
The
then,
Root House, police department ordered 2 bags last week. I took up there.
yeah,
So we're gonna work to get them into all the police departments, just so that
like a to-go bag.
it's a good bag, but in that bag has recovery meetings, has support group meetings, has resources that the health department can offer. So it's really about just reaching more people and giving them the tools, building that recovery capital. So let's welcome our very own Miss Beth Burrus.
Is it okay to stay here? You okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right. Well, good morning. Like I said, my name is Beth Burrus. I live in Root House with my husband Charlie. We're the parents of 5 children and 4 grandchildren. And grandchild number 5 is about ready to.
Oh.
Our kids are spread out all over the country. Zach and his husband Jesse live in Milwaukee. Her husband Chris, and 6-year-old grandson Kelby live in Eagle River, Alaska. Elizabeth and husband Edgar, son Chippy, live in Garland, Texas, which is in the Dallas area. and they're the ones expecting the new baby. We have a boy named Brian Barry and her 2-year-old daughter Willow live in Columbia, Missouri. And then I also have a granddaughter named Lenny, who's 15 and lives in Jacksonville. So except for Lenny, they're all spread out, makes kind of fun places to go. Charlie and I owned Burrus Drugs in Root House for 30 years. Now, that store was owned by his parents, Roy and Betsy Burrus, for 25 years before us. So it really was in the family and the community for a long time. Charlie and I are both pharmacists, and I really loved working at our store and loved being part of the community. We sold our store in 2016 to Byron Berry and became one of the Pharmacy Plus stores. And then we continued to run it for him for 5 years, and we've both been retired for about a year now. Charlie used to work at the Jerseyville Hospital too as a pharmacist, and he's retired from that job too. As I said, I loved my job. Maybe not dealing with insurance companies, but I did truly love being a pharmacist. And that being said, wow, I love being retired. The gift of time is precious, and I appreciate everything. Truth is, we worked a lot. Kids and a lot of things. So having the gift of time is a luxury. We had to kind of learn how to spend that time. For example, when Zach got married last summer in Vermont, we drove there, something we were usually never able to do. And along the way, we went to places like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Niagara Falls, and Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. So we could enjoy it. We didn't have to hurry home to work. And we get to volunteer more. That's like why I'm here. Because one thing I saw on a daily basis when I worked was the need for healthcare education and programs, just like this, for like the walking club that the health department made a reality last summer, and I can't wait to start that program again. We are, right?
Yeah, we can.
Good. I got to help with the COVID vaccine clinics, and the health department did a great job with that. But I felt like I was part of history, just, drawing up syringes. I'm on this council and mental health board. Mental health has always been very dear to me. When we were in college, we got to pick specialties, and I picked mental health pharmacy. And I actually worked at the state mental hospital, and I worked at a methadone maintenance clinic with heroin addicts. And I always championed the need for mental health. I did not understand the secrecy. I did not understand the shame. And I didn't understand why people couldn't talk about it. You can no more heal yourself from depression than you can from one of the acceptable illnesses like blood pressure or blood sugar. You calm yourself down, or pull yourself out of bed, or make those neurotransmitters in your brain work better. That you can't do that. And in the case of addiction, that's just your fault. Well, yeah. No, that's not. That's not how it works. I can't just say I want my blood pressure to drop 100 points, or I want my blood sugar to be a perfect 100. The mind is complex, and the mind is fascinating and misunderstood. And I'm still trying to educate and empower patients with mental health issues. I'm also here to say that there's a lot of help available pharmacologically that wasn't available when I started 40 years ago. Sometimes it takes a while to find the right fit in a practitioner, and to find a practitioner, even the medication itself. But everyone deserves to feel better and not alone. And I assure you that help does exist. So I've enjoyed volunteering. I've enjoyed doing things like reading just for fun, which I didn't used to get to do. I love Cardinal baseball. And sorry if you're a Cub fan. Not sorry. Pitchers and catchers are going to report this week. I think 18th they report, 19th they start their workouts. I saw today that the first game is 45 days away, and that makes me so happy. Charlie and I listen to just about every game or watch it on TV. If we don't get to watch it, then in the morning, check the scores, check the standings. We don't actually get to go to a lot of games, but I assure you, Busch Stadium is baseball heaven, And last year, I got to see Albert Pujols, which made my season, hit a grand slam. I will always remember one game in particular, August 1st, 2018. It was about 9 p.m., and of course, we were watching the game. And a knock came on our door. And standing on the porch were the coroner and 2 police officers. They explained that our oldest son, our Michael, had been in an incident, and he didn't make it. That made no sense to me. I had to say, you mean he's dead? Didn't make it? He was in Greene County Jail. He was supposed to be safe. I asked if there'd been a fight. They said no. They found him in his cell, unresponsive. He was only 34. He was in good health as far as I knew. I had talked to him the night before. He was in a good mood, as good of a mood as you can be when you're in jail. He certainly was not suicidal. After his autopsy, the cause of death was a drug overdose, heroin and fentanyl. Was smuggled into the jail by another inmate. There were a lot of mistakes and accidents and people not doing their job. But ultimately, it was Michael that injected that poison into himself. I asked if the jail had Narcan. They did. They discovered him too late to use it. Losing a child. I don't think there's anything worse. I still think about him every day. Of our 5 children, he was probably the most fun. He had a tremendous sense of humor. Thank you. He had a great laugh. He was very musical. He played several instruments. He was a good cook. He was very athletic and smart. The 15-year-old granddaughter I talk about, that's his daughter, so he was a dad. And he could be a very hard worker. But he was also mentally ill. We tried so hard to help Michael. His symptoms began manifesting in high school, really. I believe he was bipolar. I know in my heart we tried everything we could do to help him. Doctors, counselors, programs, hospitalizations. We tried leniency. We tried tough love. It truly affected our entire family. I believe that Michael tried to self-medicate. Drugs and alcohol certainly did not make his situation any better or any easier. He was always good in chemistry. Maybe that's what helped him as he cooked meth. He was in and out of jail and prison, a lot actually. We bailed him out. And when he died, we had refused to bail him out because he was here. He was not in prison. He was in Greene County Jail. He was working with his attorney. He was hoping to be assigned to drug court because that was something he had never been part of. And it wasn't supposed to end the way it did. He should have been safe. I read somewhere that the cure for grief is action. First of all, there is no cure for grief. No cure. But for me, trying to help others to use what education or training or lived experience that I have to maybe help our little corner of the world be better honors Michael. I want to give some examples, and this is really something that the health department has done. Narcan, naloxone. This drug is used to reduce the effects, or to reverse the effects of opioids. Examples of opioids are oxycodone, hydrocodone, fentanyl, heroin, morphine, codeine. It has no effect on someone who's not on an opioid. It's a lifesaver. This is a miracle. It's a miracle in a bottle. It potentially could have saved my son's life. If you suspect an overdose, if you're with someone and you actually see them using drugs, well, that's pretty good indication. But if you come across someone who's passed out or really, really sleepy, usually their eyes are kind of a pinpoint, very shallow breathing. It doesn't hurt to give this medicine. And it's a nasal spray. A nasal spray. It used to just be an injectable, and it still isn't available as an injectable, but it's very easy to administer, and it can be the difference between life and death for someone. After Michael's death, I did what I could to promote having this drug available. And like I said, I am so impressed and so grateful that the health department's made Narcan available, because we need to reduce the stigma associated with the use of this drug. Overdoses happen for so many reasons, and as a retail pharmacist, I can tell you that people make mistakes all the time using their medicine, especially if someone's in pain or if someone is on an opioid. That's why you need to be really careful when you have those, very powerful medicines in your possession. Lock them up. Or, if you're supposed to be on a certain number a day, you could count those out, or you could chart when you take them. Even my example, my husband last year had surgery, had to have part of his kidney removed. He was in pain, legitimately. He's a pharmacist who knows how to take medicine. I took care of giving him the pain medicine, because you can't really be maybe held responsible. Make this a temptation to people. You don't want to make having that medicine a temptation. Teenagers, might be just trying to experiment with something. Someone who is an addict would be very tempted by that medicine. And I can't begin to tell you how many times patients will say, my medicine was stolen. And I am not doubting that. I'm not doubting that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole nother can of worms, because you have to have a police report. You have to even get a prescriber to believe you and give you more. And you might still be in pain. Also, you might be helping somebody head down a path of addiction that they don't want to head down. Sometimes that was the saddest thing for me. The saddest thing to see somebody say, oh, I dropped it. My dog ate it, and I never saw a dead dog, ever. In 40 years, I never saw a dead dog. Or they'd say, I dropped him in the sink, which can happen. But then bring me a piece of the tablet that's, or don't take your medicine over your sink. But, it's just horrible, because you see people that are running their lives going down that black hole. Drugs can also be laced with something that makes it more than you bargained for, like fentanyl. The health department, with no questions or judgment, has provided this life-saving to places like this Narcan, to places like our schools. I had more than one principal or board member tell me, well, we don't need that. We don't have that problem here. But first of all, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Everybody does. We all do. But it's not necessarily your students. It could be, anybody on your campus. It could be a delivery person. It could be somebody at a sporting event or a program. Or, 2 weeks ago, I was having to be with a school nurse, and there was a mom who was having trouble just in line picking up her kid from school. So, we have defibrillators, we have EpiPens, we should have Narcan. Ron can speak to how many places and how many that have been dispensed, but I'm very proud. I've also had people, even sadly people who are in healthcare are police officers told me that when a person overdoses an addict, they deserve their fate. And just imagine if that was your son, or your daughter, your mom, or your dad. It's somebody maybe just doing something stupid to try to fit in. And, it's a person, it's a human being. I'm here to tell you, addiction is a thief. It robs you. It robs you of your former self. It changes your brain. It prevents you from so much. It causes cravings. It causes distortions of reality and need for treatment. And a large portion of that treatment is support and understanding. Sometimes medical intervention can help, and I am so glad we have that in that clinic. Medication assisted therapy available now in our area. But all this being said, addiction does destroy other things. It destroys families, destroys relationships. So I'm so proud of the health department getting some of these programs going. Oh my goodness. You know, that's part of my lived experience, because there's a very fine line between compassion and enabling, a very fine line. And sometimes it's a blurry line, and families need each other. And sometimes they also need a therapist or a safe place to navigate. So doing that, I so support that. Also, to follow up on what Ron said, when Michael got out of prison, and that's not really closed that when would he go to a job interview in, his friends that he had lived with, they either sold or stole or threw away everything he had. So he had no hygiene items. He had no clothes, no place to live. So that's why the Next Impressions clothing shop, thank you. And, you know, physically having these programs that, you know, just the health department in general supports eating right, sleeping right, but moving, you know, that's so important. And, you know, like I said, I'm waiting for the walking club to start again. I've spent a lot of time talking about addiction and recovery, but, you know, that's just one part. Mental health issues are enormous. I saw a statistic that said in the United States, 40 million people suffer from anxiety. That's 18% of our population. And that area and several others, like I said, there's so much more help available than it used to be when I started in pharmacy. And it is a challenge finding the right person or the right medicine. You know, sometimes it can take several tries, and then the patient has to take it, because just having it in a bottle isn't good enough. You've got to take it. You got to take it like prescribed. And as it works and you feel better, you got to keep taking it, because sometimes you get the false impression that now you're fine. Well, maybe it's the medicine that made you feel better. And so it's our job to educate people that that's what they need to do. And it doesn't mean you have to take it forever. But if you're going to go off of it, you go off of it slowly and under the care of your therapist. So I feel good about all the progress that's made in this area. I can't even tell you how good I feel about it. I know that there's still a lot to be done. Of course, we'd always be open to suggestions and helpers, and I thank you for the time I've gotten to be with you here this morning. And I look forward to working with you on any program I can in the future.
Thank you, Beth.
Piggybacking on some of the things that you said. I know I preach this a lot. 660 doses of Narcan across Greene Scott County, and we aren't done yet. We've been distributed 100 doses since the beginning of the year. So that's huge.
Yes.
You know, we're going to continue to get it in more places so that it's in the hands of Thank you again for sharing. So I want to open it up. Do we have anything to talk about? Or any questions? And anybody online, feel free to jump in too.
I think I had just a question for Beth is, when you're going through that experience with your family, what would be something, what were you most looking for in family support.
Okay, well, first of all, it was Michael getting treatment because that was so difficult, especially, with children. It's hard. And if you're under 18, I mean, he really didn't manifest a lot till, probably junior in high school, but it's hard to find a prescriber. But as a family, I had one person say to me, well, I thought nobody cared about these people. Well, first of all, you care a lot. And you're doing the best you can do sometimes. So just having other families to say, you're doing all you can. Maybe you could try this or this. But, we know that you love them. We know that, and, sometimes the hardest thing is to say no. To say, no, I am not going to bail you out because it's not doing any good. It's not helping you. Now, I know that my situation shouldn't have happened, but it's hard when they're begging you. All I need is $500. All I need, and I'll change it around. And it's like, no, it doesn't work. So I think, having someone to say, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Like you mentioned in your talk about tough love. Yes, we'd love to help, but you don't want to enable.
Right.
You don't want to say, well, here, I'll give you this time.
Right.
And then you think he's going to use it to pay a legal fee or something, and he'll use it to go get his dealer.
Right. And you often, like sometimes if you had a support group, you'd say, okay, maybe you need, your utilities paid. I will pay them to the utility company. You don't
Direct.
Yeah, but it takes a while to learn that because this is your child. This is or your to trust, and so just having someone say, "Well, have you tried this?" And tough love. I always thought it was tough on a kid. It's tough on you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So
Worse on.
yeah.
Because they come very good
Oh yeah.
of reasons why they need money.
Right.
And that's why I said never give money. If they need food and they don't go buy the food, never give money because they can come up with the saddest stories that aren't even true. It's just
And
how your brain starts.
and things that you would never. I think the straw that broke my camel's back. Things would disappear. Like I had a chainsaw. I had a whatever lawnmower. And then it would disappear. But Charlie's guitar. So, and Michael played guitar really well. But when you take somebody's guitar, it was like, but sometimes it's hard for a mom. I think it's harder for a mom. I'm not saying anything against my husband because he was with me through the whole thing. But sometimes I think a mom wants to believe. Yeah, just
There's
that one
something in
time.
it.
This is gonna do it. This is gonna do it.
That lifting spirits, is that something like that came, I feel like that's a really good asset. Anyone can- I think that's a family support that
Right.
grow
Yeah.
much, because of being there together.
That's what we've got like in our house. We have games and stuff.
Right.
Families,
It's not
or
just-
even to come do together.
Yes.
Table, we put a puzzle on.
Yeah.
Like, anybody that came in could work on it for a few minutes and then move on,
Yeah,
but
that's
it was.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, yeah, like coloring, coloring books, just something for people to get away.
Something,
Talk
not,
or-
not the
Even
local
house
restaurant.
Because like we said, kind of briefly, sometimes it was nice. And, it's so hard for
Someone that's situation every day of their life. I know how hard it is, and it is a very fine line between enabling
Yes.
and getting them the help that they have. It is hard.
Sadly, we see so many times where the kid's trying to get help. And they want the help that the whole family uses. I can't be around mom because she uses, I can't be around dad because he uses, and that breaks it apart. Because they want to get better, but.
And that's where we're trying to get the recreational activities. They can be a resource to lean on to, you know, build that social connectedness, but also be that go-to, because a lot of times all you need is just somebody to talk to. And I know, give you an example, recently we had somebody contact us probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And all they wanted to do was watch TV. And all they needed to do that was an HDMI cord.
Friday.
And, you know, what if we didn't do that? What was the alternative?
And that's what I knew. I knew
You
you're
know,
gonna sit there alone in your head all night. Yes, I will bring you a cord.
it's something simple, you know, breaking down those simple little barriers can mean the world to someone.
Finding all those people that are willing to just be there at that very moment.
And that's what my phone sometimes last night, it was 9:30, you know, call in. You know, sometimes it's just a simple, I want to let you know that my job's going so good, and just to have that person to talk to. And I always answer if I was called back, you know, it just depends. My phone.
Thank you for doing that.
Hey, no, but that's what I'm there for, because I know it's not just, I'm here for you from 8 to 4.
Yeah.
You know, like,
That was,
because I would hate to not answer that call, and I was the person they were screaming out to help for. They used it, passed away or something, you know, because sometimes they just need that person.
that's something that Amanda has shared for a long time. You know, if that person was there for her,
Yeah.
would it have progressed to the point that it progressed to? You know, and I think about that with my sister and my family. If those resources were there, or I was that resource, would it progress? You know, so.
So can we do, as a council, just thinking, listening to all of this, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Restore Network, and I've gotten involved with it, and it's for fostering. So what it does, it's wraparound services for the foster family. Because they've, you know, studies have shown that a lot of times there aren't any services for the family. So within the network, like, we build teams that then provide those wraparound services for the family. So one team is like a meal team. And so, like, if a foster family gets a kiddo at late at night, we put out the call, we have people on the meal team, and we say, okay, who's ready to provide meals for the next 2 weeks for the foster family? And so people step in. We have a prayer team. We have like a clothing team. We have a transportation team. We have a respite team. And so it's complete wraparound services for the fostering family, to give them that support. And it would be nice to see something like that. Like, we have things in place, but if we could build like different teams. So like, if there is a call that goes out, somebody connects with Amanda and says, yeah, I just need somebody to talk to. We would have a team that would then, you know, that call would come in, we say, okay, who's available on the team tonight, just to listen to talk, just to listen to somebody.
Like
Or-
A or whatever,
Yes.
they have sponsors.
Yes.
You know, but it's not really.
Have a network of.
And that would,
And that
yeah.
would
But it could be a resource that we could put
Yes.
at Boyd,
Yeah,
at GCH,
yeah,
at the emergency room, you know, like, and it could be a resource. They need this. This is who you call.
right.
This is what you do.
Right. And there was, it's really neat because it provides that instant support. So like when there's, like when they get, like we just had a 2-year-old that was placed. And so the text went out to the clothing team, and somebody says, okay, I'll go get it right now. And so, I mean, that's the thing, it's whoever's available went shopping and dropped that off to that family that evening to get them through like the next 24, 48 hours.
I think it's fantastic.
And even utilizing people that, you know, you've come in contact with
Right.
already that
Right.
might be willing or able. That's for something like
Right.
that. Maybe they're out of state where they can.
That way it doesn't just land on the same person all the time, too.
Exactly.
It's not always,
It's a.
And that's-
you don't have that one
Yeah.
run out, but, you know.
I
that's
meet
what
with
happens.
Heather Dorn, who's who's our director for Restore Network on Wednesday. I'll kind of ask her how that structure works, you know, if they have like a central call person, which I think they do.
Right.
Then that person can kind of then contacts whatever part of the team. What
Which
do
I
you
could
need?
be a central contactor. Probably me, because I'm Bolton. I think that's a fantastic idea. I think we're onto something.
And they use it, it's all faith-based, so they go out to the churches, and then everybody within the churches volunteer. But like I said, it might be simple, just as simple as a prayer team. We need prayer for this, and that's
That
it.
actually breaks down some of that stigma too, is are there prayers for people in this situation?
Right.
Does that exist right now? Maybe not, that's like a huge stigma.
Yeah.
Well, that building those multiple pathways is important. I
Yes.
think that religion
That's a good idea.
is a big part
Yes.
of the recovery process.
Great
I
idea.
think that's a great idea, Captain.
Yeah.
So consider it done.
Well, I'll help with it. I
Right,
mean,
just follow up with me.
yes, I will. Heather, and then we have another, like a county person, but, like I said, I meet with her Wednesday morning, and I'll get the actual structure of, I can probably get all that information, and then.
Yeah, it's just like you said today, I mean, you said it's okay to have blood pressure issues. It's not okay to have mental health struggles.
Right.
And you saying that there's prayers, what are we praying for these people? And maybe that's part of our change too, as this council of increasing that discussion in that way. It protects people, not.
It's been something, I mean, I've tried my whole professional life, but I do think things are getting a little.
I think so too. It's the stigma breaking down. Bob, did you have something to say?
Well, yeah, a little bit. The AA system, I'm big in that, I have for a long time. They've got an answering service committee. And what they'll have is like a burner phone that is 24 hours that the committee will volunteer to take that for a certain night or for a week.
Exactly.
And when that rings, it's active. You can offer some kind of help or some kind of resource to direct them to help them. But sometimes these people, all they need is a voice on the other end of that phone that says, you know what, we'll get through this. It'll be okay.
Yeah. And it's sad. I mean, sometimes it's so, you feel so sad, so bad, because your person is suffering. And, and you refuse to give them money or whatever, and, it's somebody to say, you did the right thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic idea. That's something, that we lean into the council, right? We
Yeah,
talk about the
absolutely.
strategy, lean on each other
Yeah.
to make this program successful.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Our phones, I guess you could say. So we have our own separate lines that are dedicated specifically to our work with the health department, so.
And you could get people like somebody that has lived experience that would say, well, I'd be on it.
Yeah.
I'd listen.
So, volunteer for one
It
part of
doesn't-
it, whether you want to do prayer, whether you want to do they need the clothes, or, like, if you think about what those family service, how can we get those wraparound services to the family? What would they?
Because, lately twice now, we've had, going to get treatment. And they needed clothes, hygiene items.
And it was a simple call, like the second.
Yeah.
That they,
And
when I dropped what I was doing, I was gone.
Transportation.
That's right,
Mhm.
yeah.
Transportation's been a challenge, and it's I think that barrier is always gonna be there with, as a rural community. I don't think that there's an easy solution to it.
But having an office in the North Green area is so good.
Right.
Because it just seems like
They can
that's
walk.
kind of a,
A lot of people who.
yes.
And that's the goal, you notice, we're
You-
bouncing around everywhere, and the reason we're doing that is just give more people the opportunity to be engaged in the process. Giving them that inlet into the council and our work so that we can really improve the recovery outcomes long term. So I think that's great, Kevin. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I
Oh,
think
yes.
I think that's fantastic. Consider it done, so. And I'll tell you, it's getting very, very busy, so that is, that would be really helpful.
be a good step right
You
now.
know,
Right.
Yeah.
I learned somewhere in training that one of the worst times of year is spring,
Right, very much so.
you know? And I think everybody, I thought, well, everybody should be feeling better. Well, no, everybody is feeling better except you. You actually feel worse. And, you know,
Yeah.
I just, so it's good that we're going into spring for baseball. And
Anybody else have any plans today? Motion to adjourn? Meeting's adjourned. So our next meeting will be on the 28th of February, which is a strategy meeting. Tabletop strategy. It'll be at 4 PM here at the health department. And then our next meeting,
and then followed by,
yep, and later that night, we'll be at Woodhouse for art. And then on March 14th at 9 AM at the office in Root House.
13th or 14th, it says 13th.
14th, sorry,
14th, it should be a Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
14th. Sorry, it's 3/14, 9 AM at Root House. Now I did, and we can talk, this can be like off the record kind of conversation, but is there any interest in moving these meetings to align them with the strategy meeting? So like, here's what I was thinking. What if they were all in one day? We had our monthly meeting, which focuses on building, you know, we want people with lived experience to build that capacity. They're structured, but then our strategy meetings can later on talk about, you know, what are we doing, where are we going, how are we gonna do this? What if it was like a 3 PM to 5 PM meeting? So then we don't have multiple meetings every month.
yeah.
And it does make sense
Yeah.
because you have, just like the discussion we just did, it's like, if, so you say everybody's in here and some people stay and some people leave.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's good.
And then it would just be like, we would move from one, it would be separate meetings, but they would just move so that we're not bouncing around every
Figured
month.
out Fonzo.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's great.
So,
Makes sense.
so when we go into the committee meeting, we'll maybe propose that change, just to consolidate it, so we're not bouncing around it.
They have a main meeting place and then they have breakout sessions.
Yes,
Within there.
That's good.
right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for being here. Yep, go ahead, sorry.
Okay, no, just, so I was just thinking, we were talking about, well, where people go, like, we're gonna offer something that gives somebody a fun place to be, they can relax, they don't have to, right? And then I said, well, it's not like the coffee shop, and then I thought, wait a minute, would it be like I know that if we went to, let's say, Hillview Restaurant and had a meeting, you know what I mean?
People will see it.
Yeah. Just once in a while, have it at the coffee shops. So, and then be like, well, what do they do?
Yeah.
Is there any patient confidentiality issues?
That's
Well,
what I was gonna say, that's the only issue.
if
that you could-
The meeting wise, these meetings are just open to the public. We don't talk about who was attended them outside of here. But we could go, I could be like, Kevin, come meet me at the coffee shop and we just get a couple people together. We sit there and we talk about recovery, which could get more people. Right, coffee talk. And it could be,
That's a great
you know, North End, it could be at Hillview,
Yeah.
it could be over at, is there anywhere in Greenfield?
Jones House. Greenfield's got,
I think you're totally onto it though. It's like this setting to invite people is different.
Right.
Like, so even this, where if we want people that are having lived experience to come, they might be
They
more
may see
present.
this as like more of a clinical, like,
Right.
down here.
So I agree. I think,
I think you're right.
just at least one time to try it out and then people be like, what? Did you see that?
break out.
Right.
We can just have this discussion out in the community.
Right.
Which is what we need to do.
Right, I do.
There you go. Biscuits and gravy, guys.
Maybe that would schedule like.
Yeah.
Happy time, if you want to go.
Yeah.
Don't have time.
Once in a while, I mean, food kit.
Look at her, she's coming.
Always.
There's hope for that.
Thank you.
So much.
On anything.
Okay. Type it out. Maybe then there was-
Thank you.
We'll see you next night.
You want me to come?
Yeah.
Okay. She always makes me feel like an artist. You want to hit it on?
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. It's like, you know, inspiring and simple.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
I'll give me a hug, you.
The very complicated.
Oh, it's so good to see you.